looking for.
All right, let me go across. I think I can go to Shishir Hattangadi. Shishir, the question about leadership, and I think it's a fair point. I mean, Virat is a natural leader. Captaincy inspired him to become a better player. Now that captaincy is gone from his hands, has he become sort of a bit jaded, for want of a better word?
Not because of captaincy, but certainly because of lack of runs, and you can become jaded because day in and day out you're trying your best to come back into peak performance as you have been over the last almost a decade. And sometimes I think there is when you achieve so much, there is a lot of dignity in using the word rested rather than dropped. It's happened in the past to players who achieved so much. It will happen in future to a lot of players who have achieved so much. Being dropped sounds a little undignified, if I may put it that way. But there's no denying that his form has dipped, and he needs to get back into good form to help India the way he's helped India with his top batting performances. But the point I'm making just now is there is a need, I think, for him to take a break because nothing seems to be working at the moment in terms of coming back to peak performance. Maybe the break will help him, but there's no denying he's in good form.
As Ravi Shastri, I think, tweeted some months ago, I think Virat Kohli is brain fried. He needs a break. But let me also bring in Tim Wigmore. He's the author of Cricket 2.0. Tim, some would say, what's happened in the last couple of years also is that the T20 game itself has changed. Virat Kohli's T20 performances were anchored around the fact that he would hold one end up. He would be the anchor man and everybody else sort of battered around him. Whereas now the game itself has changed. You'd rather take in a player who can make a 30 out of 10 or 12 balls rather than somebody who would make a 60 out of 40 balls to hold the innings together. I think that idea of holding the innings together is over in T20 cricket over the last couple of years. Tim?
I think that's part of the problem for Virat, but I think it's kind of deeper than that. If you look at kind of modern anchor players, they can do both. They can both hold things together and then they can also accelerate, and they've got that kind of upside. And of course, India have three of those who are very, very good. They have Rohit Sharma, the captain, who's obviously a lock in the team, KL Rahul, who I think is very hard to leave out, and Shreyas Iyer, who played that incredible innings on Sunday in Nottingham. So I think the issue is, if you have those three players, do you want Virat Kohli as well? I think that's, for me, it's a question of balance. I think there would be room for a peak Virat in one of those three slots, but I don't think you want four of those types of players. You need to have Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya in the middle, and I think you probably also want a kind of explosive finisher such as Dinesh Karthik as well.
Okay, so is it a question of balance, Vimal? I mean, as Tim was saying, there are 3-4 different players who play that role that Virat used to play, whether it's a Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Surya Kumar Yadav, and of course now you have others also knocking on that position. So is it a question of balance, because you have to play Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant, and I guess you have to play a finisher in Dinesh Karthik, and then you've got the bowlers coming?
Zaka, let me tell you first thing, because I've just seen lots, and over the last 2 weeks I have been traveling with this Indian team, speaking to the selectors, coach, captain, informally, not formally. They are not allowed. The sense I get, I'm not saying that they have told me, but what I have gathered, and this Virat debate is going on, a couple of other players, I don't want to quote them, have just given me plain logic. Virat is being backed by Rohit Sharma, it's not a secret. And why he's being backed? We may run the story, rivalry and all that, but you, from professional point of view, if you are captain of India, who would you take to Australia? First number, Virat Kohli. Why? The reason, because of his record in Australia, the experience. Last time, India did horribly bad again in the UAE. Reason was the lack of experience. You look at the Indian batting lineup. You have KL Rahul, not sure about fitness. He has not played too many matches in Australia. Rohit Sharma is the only experienced guy. Then Surya Kumar Yadav has not established himself completely. Shreyas Iyer is struggling. Deepak Hooda is just few days, he has just played a couple of cameos. Do you want to go to Australia in such a high-profile World Cup with such experience? Virat Kohli, remember, the World Cup is still 4 months away. Virat Kohli, once he gets a 100, and we are expecting that right now, the match is going on. Today I saw that this place, Rahul Dravid came first with Virat Kohli, and he was practicing right behind here. The intent, the positivity, his skill as experience. So the team management is quite clear. captain is quite clear. Maybe some of the selectors are not on the same page, and that's why they are buying the time. There was a confusion. I am told selector wanted to say, he's no longer a scheme of things, but they want to wait because injury of KL Rahul. They want to see how Rahul develops. Yes, if Rahul is fit, Rahul gets run in West Indies, Rahul gets run in Asia Cup, maybe slightly. But right now, as I'm talking, I don't see that Virat can be rested or dropped from T20 World Cup. That's very, very clear. If that happens, I will be shocked because Rohit Sharma is backing Virat Kohli right now.
Okay, let's get a couple more callers in, and then I'll go back to our guest. Mr. Arun Kapoor is calling us from Gurugram. Mr. Kapoor, good evening.
Good evening, Zaka, and all your panelists. I have a very short comment to make. Virat is been one of the greatest captains and players of all times. But he's a ruthless guy. And oh, by the way, cricket is a ruthless game. And if he is down the hill, if he is not in form, then I think he should be the first person to understand and appreciate if he can be dropped or rested.
Okay. All right.
These are all semantics, whether you're dropped or rested. But fact of the matter is, if you're not in form, my friend, you do not play.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kapoor. JB Singh is calling us from Mumbai. Mr. Singh.
Yes, good evening to you, Zaka, and all the other fellow panelists. My question is to the neutral person, Mr. Tim from Telegraph. You see, in India, we when some players do good, we really put them on the top, and when they are out of the form, we put them down. Do you think, Mr. Tim, dropping Virat for such a big event like Virat on the World Cup in Australia, where he has done so well, so it would be a great mistake from our side? He should be there in the squad, especially with Australia, bigger grounds, with the people around and the World Cup. So what's your view on this? I would like to ask Mr. Tim.
All right. Let me also get one more caller in. CK Subramaniam, also calling us from Mumbai tonight. Mr. Subramaniam.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Form is temporary and class is permanent. How you can make it to the team is very difficult now. Because he is not rested. I call it rested. RUSTED. Since his repeated failures have given a scope for this. And Sourav Ganguly, when he took over as the president post, he openly said that India could not win a single ICC-sponsored tournament. Then we like to win a ICC-sponsored tournament. We have to remove certain players who are not performing well. And Kohli is under that.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it at that. Thanks very much, Mr. Subramaniam. Let me go back to our guest, Nikhil. This idea